I am Satish Koda, Assistant Professor and HOD, Department of Zoology, Government Postgraduate College of Arts, Science and Commerce, Shira. In this session, I am going to teach on topic life history and pathogenicity of Schistosoma hematobium. And this topic belongs to Tumkur University, 3rd BSc Zoology, 6th semester, paper 7, Applied Zoology. Let us look into the classification of this pathogenic worm, that is Schistosoma hematobium, which belongs to kingdom Animalia, phylum Platyhelminthes, class Rhabditophora, order Diplostomida, family Schistosomatidae, genus Schistosoma, species Schistosoma hematobium. The binomial name of this worm is Schistosoma hematobium, and the diagram which you are seeing on the screen, this is both male as well as female Schistosoma hematobium adult worms. And this Schistosoma hematobium is commonly called or commonly known as blood fluke or vesicle blood fluke, which is found in Africa as well as the Middle East countries. And this adult worms lives in vesicle, prostate and venous plexus. The lifespan of this worm is 20 to 30 years. The Schistosoma hematobium was first discovered by the German surgeon who is Theodor Bellhardt. He is a surgeon in German. He has identified this parasite as a causative agent of the urinary infection in the year 1851. It is the only blood fluke that infects the urinary tract, causing urinary schistosomiasis. The urinary schistosomiasis is a disease where the urinary tract gets infection. It also leads the bladder cancer. The urinary infection, it may, if it untreated, it may leads to the bladder cancer also. Now coming to the life history of the Schistosoma hematobium. So regarding life cycle concern, the Schistosoma hematobium, which completes its life cycle in two hosts. So here there are two hosts, one is intermediate host and definitive host. Here the definitive host is man and intermediate host is freshwater snail. From the definitive host, so the infected person, from the infected person, the eggs are released out or excreted out through the urine as a urination process. Okay, by the urination, through the urine, the embryonated eggs comes out from the infected or from the definitive host, and in the environment these eggs reaches the stagnant water, and when it reaches or when it reaches the stagnant water or fresh water, the eggs immediately within 15 minutes they hatch out as minute larvae, minute ciliated larvae, that is Miracidia larva. So these Miracidia larva comes out from the eggs of the embryonated eggs, and this Miracidia larva is ciliated and freely swims in the water, and where it reaches or where it gets the intermediate host, and it penetrates through the soft skin of the intermediate host of snail, freshwater snail. So when it reaches the freshwater snail, in the body of freshwater snail, it migrates and it reaches the liver, where in the liver of freshwater snail, where it loses the cilia and other organs. And when it loses the cilia and other organs, it is going under the changes. It forms transformed into the sporocyst in 4 to 8 weeks. It transformed into the sporocyst. So this sporocyst multiplies and forms the second generation of sporocyst. And in this second generation sporocyst, so it gives rise to the Cercaria larva. The Cercaria larva, this in the sporocyst, breaks down the sporocyst wall and comes out from the sporocyst and migrates from the liver and escape from the liver of the or body of the snail. And these fork-tailed Cercaria larva, which is very effective and which is very infective stage, these infective stage of Cercaria larva escape from the snail body and when comes into the water. And when this contaminated water or water containing this fork-tailed Cercaria larva used by the peoples or human beings. So human beings, if the human beings are takes bath or other do other domestic activities by this process, so this Cercaria larva penetrates directly through the skin into the human body or into the definitive host body. And after proper penetration, it start moving. From the skin. It reaches the peripheral venule. From the peripheral venule, it moves or migrated to the right heart. From the right heart, it reaches pulmonary capillaries. From the capillaries, it migrates to the left heart, from where it reaches abdominal aorta, and from the abdominal aorta, it moves into the mesenteric artery, and from there, it passes to the intestine. From intestine, again it migrates to the portal circulation, where in the portal circulation, where it grows into the adult worm in the span of 3 to 4 weeks. In the portal circulation, it reaches the adult stage, means it develops as an adult worm. After becoming adult and sexually mature, it moves into the liver, from where it migrated to the mesenteric vein or the pelvic vein or venous plexus at the lower abdominal portion or lower portion of the bladder. In the lower portion of the bladder, where the matured worms copulate each other as a means of sexual reproduction takes place. As a result of sexual reproduction, here they copulate each other, and after finishing the fertilization, the female is going to lay the eggs, and these eggs are remains in the bladder or urinary tract, and these eggs comes out from the host body or infected definitive host body, that is man, through urination process. And again, when these eggs are excreted out from the definitive host, then the next cycle continues. This is how the second cycle repeats. The life cycle repeats. Here you can observe the diagram which can clearly explain. Here the definitive host this definitive host excretes the embryonated eggs. Embryonated eggs reaches the freshwater stagnant body. In the stagnant body, these embryonated eggs hatch out as Miracidia larvae, which are ciliated and freely swimming. And when it reaches the intermediate host, that is the freshwater snail, enters through the penetration in the from the in the snail body. The various developments takes place, the larval stages takes place, where here the sporocyst and it transforms into the second sporocyst and multiplies. In the second generation sporocyst, it becomes Miracidia larva becomes the four-tailed Cercaria larva, which is very effective, penetrative, or effectively infective stage. And this Cercaria larva breaks this sporocyst and comes out or escaped out from the snail body and into the water. In the water, again, these contaminated water used by the peoples as a means of bathing or other domestic activities. In this process, directly enters into the human body, and again it develops. The larva develops as an adult worm, and after reaching the adult worm, it settles. The matured worms are settled at the lower abdominal position, that is prostate and the venous plexus, at the region of lower bladder, from where the fertilization takes place. Again, after fertilization, female is able to lay the eggs, and female lays eggs. Then again, these eggs remains in the urinary bladder as well as urinary tract. Then these eggs comes out through the urine of the host body, definitive host body. Again, this cycle continues. I hope you all understood better the life history of Cystosoma hematobium. Now I am switching on to the pathogenicity. In the urinary tract or urinary bladder, it causes a disease called as cystosomiasis. So this cystosomiasis is a disease where it is caused by the eggs, and this is characterized by the urinary bladder infection, where the urinary bladder increases pressure on the ureters and also kidneys. Then this condition is known as hydronephrosis. And the second one is it also causes hematuria. So this hematuria is a condition where the infected person discharges blood through the urine. And other one is fibrosis of the bladder. See this, where the bladder gets infected, the fibrous tissue of the bladder gets infected, and the scars are formed. Scars are formed. And other serious infection occurs in the urinary tract. It means urinary tract can be blocked. During this condition, obstructive urotherapy is uropathy. Uropathy means urinary tract blocked, which can be further complicated by bacterial infection. And also it leads to kidney failure. And the other infection also occurs if the chronic infection occurs in the bladder. It leads or it forms some ulcers in the bladder, and these ulcers, severe ulcers, turns into carcinoma. It means bladder carcinoma, means the bladder cancer may occurs. And this is about the pathogenicity of the Cystosoma hematobium. I hope all you are understood. So I will end up this session here. I'll meet you in the next session with the same topic with other pathogenic worm. Same title with the other pathogenic worm. Till then, stay safe, stay home. Thank you very much.